What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Welcome to the channel, everyone. In today's video, I'm gonna teach you how to build the perfect nuker. I'm gonna walk you through the entire process on what you need to know about how to pick the gear and masteries, pretty much everything that you need to know about the topic, you know. Before we move over to talk about all that, if you guys enjoy the music you hear in the video, I just want to let you know I partnered up with Soundstripe. They have an amazing music library, so if you're a content creator, a music enthusiast, definitely head over and check them out. The link will be in the description down below. Plus, I can save you 15% on checkout by using code SCRATCH. So, when we're talking about nukers, guys, we have three different sort of nukers. Attack-based, HP-based, and defense-based nukers. Pretty much, that's what we have at the moment in the game. And you will have to build the champions differently, but they all follow pretty much the same sort of principles, you know. Of course, bomb champions will be a bit different. You're not going to build them in the same way you are building the rest of the nukers, but we're going to cover that in a second as well. So let's just start by building, for example, my Alika, right? I need to rebuild her for my Faction Wars team. If you guys didn't know, she's an absolute hidden gem. She hits super powerful, and she is going to be a beast in Faction Wars if you need some damage. So with this skill, attacks all enemies, has a chance to increase the cooldowns. With this skill, attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense if their max HP is higher than this champion's max HP. And most probably that's gonna happen every single time when you are attacking a champion in PvE. With A1, she has a chance to place an extra hit if the attack, this hit is always critical, my bad. So basically, we do have a bit of ignore defense in her kit. If we're gonna have a quick look at Skullcrown, for example, with A1 attacks all enemies, with A2 attacks all enemies. Nothing about ignoring defense here. One thing that is very important on the nukers are their multipliers and the damage that they receive from books. So right here, she gets a 10% damage from booking the champion. Right here, she gets a 20%. Alika, for example, she gets 20% here, she gets 25% here, and she gets 20% here. She does like to read a lot, this chick, but trust me, she hits so damn hard. Very, very good champion for DPS. And yes, it's kind of like a no-brainer. The main set that you would want to use on your nukers is Savage. Now, the good part about it is that if you don't have Savage, you might have Lethal, which is similar with Savage, but you can farm it from the Doom Tower. If you don't have any of those available, the next best thing would be to put your champion in Cruel sets. You're going to be able to collect Cruel gear, like the shield that I have right here, directly from the clan boss. The best pairing for a DPS will be to have a Savage Lethal with a Cruel or a crit damage set. The more defense you ignore, the more damage you're gonna get. I haven't really made a math for it or anything like that, but honestly, the extra damage, the advantages of having a Savage set on a champion, let's just give you a plain example. Let's just say I have a Savage champion, 6k attack, 300 crit damage as an idea. And then I have a different champion, not on Savage, 7k attack, 400 crit damage, and guess what? The champion with 7k attack, 1000 more attack than the Savage one, and 100% more crit damage is gonna deal less damage than the champion on Savage. That's how powerful the Savage set is in the game. The Lethal set, and Cruel is kind of like a small version. If you don't have that either, we do have the Instinct set as well, which is kind of like the next best thing. And this is a bit harder to get because you're gonna have to purchase the Forge Pass. And honestly, it's probably the best option for people that are spending because you're gonna have much better pieces of Instinct than having Savage or a Lethal. If you're newish to the game, you're still progressing through it, you haven't been farming for ages, Instinct will be probably a wiser choice for the majority of you guys out there. And the main thing that you wanna do when you are building your champion, of course, you're gonna have to take it in consideration and be, okay, I want this champion do that specific role, right? I want him to do as much damage as possible. I'm not gonna play it with defense down. I'm not gonna have buff strippers, so I need to rely on my nukers to do a lot of damage. And When I'm building my champions personally, the very first thing I'm doing is getting the accessories done. So basically, it really depends where you are in the game. You might want to have some speed on your nukers. You might not want to have a lot of speed on your nukers. Like early game, mid game progression, you want to have some speed on them to ensure that the enemy team won't cut on them and you're still going to get the nuke. If you're end game, you're going to want to get your nukers as slow as possible to make sure you're avoiding a reaction, you're avoiding a stone skin. So the first thing I'm doing when I'm building my nuker, and I'm going to talk about attack-based nukers, then we're going to move over to HP and defense-based nukers. We're going to look for an attack ring. Now, when you're keeping accessories, you want to make sure this is like an extra tip. The main stat needs to be as a percentage on the ring, on the banner. And if it doesn't roll that, that's not going to be a good ring because you want to get as much attack as possible. Like this one right here, this is an awful ring, okay? If it wouldn't be reaction, I wouldn't even think in keeping it. Except I'm going to use a Chaos Ore on it. And it's a gamble. Maybe I'm going to hit good. Maybe I'm going to make it worse, you know? Like, who knows? But that's not a good ring as an idea. If we're looking at this one, again, this is pretty weak. The only reason why I kept it is because it's a revenge ring, you know? So we're going to click equipped and see what other attack rings I have on different champions. So I know for a fact I'm not using this bad boy at the moment. This is a perfect role, for example. Triple attack, and we have the main attack. So this bad boy is gonna go on my Alika because we're not using Elder Scarg at the moment. Then I'm gonna move over, look at crit damage amulets, and I do want her to have some accuracy, especially for faction wars. She doesn't need a lot of accuracy on the waves, so the main thing that I'm going to prioritize on the substat for the ring is going to be attack. If I'm building a defense-based nuker, I'm going to prioritize defense substat, or if I'm building an HP-based nuker, I'm going to prioritize HP. So we're going to put attack, and we're going to see which one of them has the highest roll on attack, and preferably to have accuracy on it as well. This is actually beautiful. We have double attack, we have some accuracy on it as well. Let's see this one that's not used. This has triple roll on accuracy, but only one on attack. I want her to deal as much damage as possible. So we're actually gonna go with this ring instead. Bang. Even 20, 50, 30 attack is gonna help you quite a bit, so keep that in mind as well. Right here, of course, we're gonna go for an attack banner, and we're gonna check what we have available. Very interesting that I have an attack banner on her for some reason. Right here, 16 speed, 11 attack. I have a 16 speed, 11 attack again. 18 speed, 12% attack. So far, that's the winning one. This one doesn't have attack percentage. Again, I'm going to use a Chaos Ore and reroll the banner. And this one is a reaction. And unfortunately, it didn't roll on attack, but it rolled on the rest, you know. So, because I don't want to remove necessarily gear from other champions, I could remove it from him. But you know what? I'm going to leave the banner and I'm going to use this banner on her. I have defense percentage on it and I have some HP percentage too. And yes, it will give me 7% more attack from here without taking in consideration the glyph. But I'm trying to build her with attack boots and I want to ensure that she will have around 170, 180 speed because I'm building her for a faction wars just to deal a lot of damage, and I do need to have some speed on her, so I'm not really building her necessarily for end game arena where I need no speed whatsoever, you know. So we're gonna try that on, and just with these three pieces we already have pretty decent stats, so we're gonna equip that. The accuracy is on the low at the moment. Now I do have a shield equipped, which most probably is gonna get dropped. What I'm gonna do now, the very first thing that you wanna do is look for the bottom pieces. It's much harder to find the right bottom pieces comparing them with the top pieces, you know. Probably from every single set. If you guys pay attention to your gear, if you've never done it before, you're gonna see that, oh my god, I actually have lots of helmets, weapons, and shields that have very good substats, but the bottom ones are kind of like lacking, you know. So the very first thing I want to do is look for crit damage gloves, and this is probably the first thing you will want to do because a lot of the times you're just not gonna have a lot of them available from the right sets, you know. And I'm looking to try and give her a little set or an instinct. So if I have some nice gloves and enough pieces from an instinct set to give it to her, that's what I'm gonna give her, because I'm gonna get some speed as well, and that will help me for my faction wars team. This right here, unfortunately doesn't have attack percentage on the gloves, you see. And I'm not saying that it's gonna be impossible to make it work, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it might not necessarily be the best thing that I could use on her. Then I can have a look at the gloves, and I've just found a 5-star glove, which I feel like is definitely good enough for her. And this is from a little set. Now, on the little set, you are gaining 10% extra crit rate, which is massive, and it's fine if I only have 5% crit rate on her here, because I have 20% attack on the roll, you know. So let's go to the fearing room. We're gonna attempt to use that. We're gonna check what other pieces we have. This is decent, but again, no attack percentage. Here, I have attack as a ascension, so if I max that, I could use it, but I'm not gonna have crit rate. And I have attack percentage right here, which again is gonna be great. And I have these gloves right here. They pretty much have everything that I need to do, and the ascension hit crit rate, so that will give me even more crit rate. But I'm gonna stick with the 5 stars because I feel like it's gonna be more than enough for what I need her to do, you know. And then boots and chest piece. We're gonna look for attack percentage. Substats, it doesn't matter that much, but preferably you might want to have crit rate, you might want to have crit damage. It really depends what sort of crit damage you're going to be able to get on your champion. So far I'm at 200 crit damage. I feel like it's fairly decent considering that I can still get 5 different pieces. The shield doesn't have crit damage at the moment, and that's going to get removed anyway. So I'm going to go all the way down to little, and I'm going to see what pieces I have available here. So we have a chest piece. Attack, I have speed, crit rate, no crit damage, and attack for the ascension. That's actually pretty decent. So we're gonna try to keep this one at the moment. If I have to swap it for a different piece from a different set, I'm gonna do it. The next thing that we're looking at is boots. So we wanna get attack boots. Crit rate, we have 56%, and we gotta think about it that, okay, it's time to start covering some crit rate on the champion. These boots right here are fairly decent. We have crit rate, we have speed. The ascension kind of sucks, unfortunately, no crit damage. Right here we have no speed. This is a great pair of boots, but unfortunately, I'm not building her for a endgame arena, right? And you do want to get some speed. And it doesn't matter if you guys are not planning to build your champion for faction wars. It's still gonna need a similar speed. 170, 180, 190, you know, so that's a thing to keep in mind. This one right here, fairly decent, 6% crit rate. Again, not that amazing. And I do have a 5-star, which I'm curious to see if it's better. And this seems to be pretty good as well, but unfortunately, no speed on it either. But I do have crit damage, I have crit rate. I could attempt to use this and then prioritize a bit of more speed from other places like the shield or stuff like that. The shield cannot give me attack, so I can look to have like a double roll on speed, crit rate, crit damage, and like that I'm gonna be able to get the stats. So we're gonna go with the 5-star boots for the moment. No speed, unfortunately, but we do have a double roll speed on the chest, which will help quite a bit. Now we can drop that. Primary, you don't need to have attack, and we're gonna look to have crit rate on the rest. The main thing that you do wanna cover is to have 100% crit rate on your build. It's gonna be very, very important because 98 crit rate, 99 crit rate won't do the job as good, you know. It's gonna happen a lot of times where when you're gonna get wrecked because you don't have enough crit rate. So this weapon right here, fairly decent weapon, lots of speed. I don't have a different weapon from this set by the looks of it with crit rate, so let's check the helmets, then we're gonna check the shields. Speed, crit rate, crit damage, flat attack, only a 67 attack on there. Wish that was a percentage, it would have been an awesome piece. Right here, this is an amazing piece for an HP nuker, for example. So we're not gonna use that one. This is great for a defense-based nuker. Let's see a shield. This shield is actually fairly decent. So we have one roll on each. It's not perfect, but it's giving us pretty much everything that we need. We get speed, crit rate, crit damage, and by the looks of it, I don't seem to have a better shield. I do have this rare shield, which we can attempt to use. And my crit rate at the moment is at 68%. 150 speed, 5.6k attack, 210 crit damage. Now, I will need to cover quite a bit of crit rate from here. So what I'm gonna do, just till I decide what other set I'm gonna give her and what pieces I have available from the other set, maybe I have something decent from there, I'm actually gonna put this on. Of course, we have the feeding room, so you don't have to worry about it. And I'm gonna put this on as well. And right now, I still need to cover 15% crit rate. The speed is in a sweet spot. I'm happy with the attack on this champion as well. I would like to get more crit damage. And of course, I need to cover that crit rate. Now, that shield, it just doesn't seem that is necessarily doing the job. So I'm gonna compare it a bit with this. If I would equip this legendary shield instead of the rare one, the only thing that I would gain is 4 extra crit damage and a bit of HP. And I feel like it's definitely not justifying using the legendary shield on her instead of the rare one. We're gonna keep that for the moment. And now I'm gonna move over to the next set. Now, Killstroke. This gives us crit damage and speed. It seems like I only have crit rate on the weapons, so this won't really be helpful at all. If we're gonna have a quick look, for example, at Fatal, this is a decent set as well, which gives you attack and crit rate. This is a decent weapon, but no speed, and that would kind of like put us at very low speed, so I'm not very happy about that. I'm gonna go to Cruel. And right here I have plenty of options, so we're gonna have a look to see if we can find anything to help us. If I would replace this weapon, I would be dropping 9 speed, but I would be gaining 9 crit rate. If I'm putting this one, I'm losing attack, I'm losing speed, but I'm gaining crit rate and crit damage. This one as well, decent, is giving me only 1% extra crit rate, a bit of extra attack, and I'm dropping some speed. I'm hoping to find a slightly better one instead, you know. Maybe I have one available, maybe I don't. So it doesn't seem like I have an extra decent weapon from the Cruel set that I can use on this build. So I'm gonna move over to the helmets. This one drops me 11 speed for the crit rate. Is pretty costly to make that exchange. So we're gonna look to see if we can find something a bit better. This one gives me a bit of crit rate, drops me crit damage, drops me speed, drops me attack. Not the wisest choice. This helmet, on the other hand, drops me the crit damage, gives me a bit of attack, gives me some crit rate, and doesn't drop me that much speed from the build, you know. The shields, again, we gotta look for speed on them too to see what we have available. This could potentially be a pretty decent shield because we're getting some accuracy, which we want to have on the champion. We're getting crit rate, crit damage, and we're getting some speed. Let's see if we have anything else available that might be a bit better. This one right here, fairly decent. Trait 7 crit rate for 6 crit damage. Now the crit damage is already low on the champion, so I feel like this might not be the best thing to do all around. So this is the best shield that we found so far out of a Cruel set. Now, here comes in play the part where you're like, okay, should I use a Cruel set? These are the stats that I can achieve. Or should I look at using a different set? Maybe I should look at either using a crit damage set if I have enough good pieces. So that would be the next thing that I would do. And you can see right here, this weapon is actually godly. Triple roll on crit rate. We have attack, lots of attack, even the ascension, and we have the speed. So I would trade 9 speed for 16 crit rate. That would take me to 100%, and I would get 243 more attack. That looks very good. So we're gonna look to see if we have another piece that maybe is not as godly as that one, just in case if I'm gonna prioritize that piece on a more important champion in the near future, you know. And it doesn't seem like we have anything much crazier. But I do have this piece right here. I'm trading some speed for the crit rate, and we're losing 13 attack, but we can glyph it, we can ascend it. So we're gonna try to make this swap right here. And we're gonna have a look at the helmets. Do we have any speed and crit rate? That's kind of like the main thing that we wanna prioritize now. Speed and crit rate. We still gotta cover 7% more crit rate. And it seems like I only have one helmet, which unfortunately is not great for attack-based nukers. We have defense percentage, not enough crit rate to cover it. So I'm gonna have to rely on shields. And it seems like I do need to have a double roll on the crit rate if I want to make it work, you know. And right here I found one, and this is where the issue comes in play, where I'm saying I wish we would have crit rate glyphs. Even if it's a 1-star only, a 1-star glyph right now would save me this build. And yeah, with glyphs I could increase the speed. I could get her to 175, 180 speed without a problem. You see, nothing is really glyphed on the champion. But I'm on 99% crit rate. And yes, for Faction Wars, it wouldn't really make a massive difference all around. It wouldn't completely change the game or anything like that. But it's still annoying knowing that is there on your brain, you know. So what I'm gonna do instead, we're actually gonna end up in using this weapon on the champion. We're getting better stats, so now we can actually look to drop some of the crit rate. And here we are. We can use this shield, and I feel like we've got a pretty solid build. We have a lethal set, a crit damage set, 6,267 attack, 177 speed, which can be glyphed all the way up to almost 200, full crit rate, 243 crit damage. Now the accuracy is a bit on the low, which is fine because I'm not necessarily prioritizing the accuracy on the champion. It's always hard to do both of them. Like, it's not worth it to sacrifice the damage on your DPS just to gain some accuracy. Trust me when I'm telling you that it's not working to make a mixture of them, because you're not gonna give them their full you're not gonna unlock their full potential. So right now, you see, this is a pretty solid piece. I wouldn't really have to do much on it. Right here, I can ascend speed and attack, or glyph speed and attack and ascend the piece. The same here, I can glyph the speed, glyph the attack, glyph the survivability stats plus ascension. Here, fully ascend this chest piece, get more speed, glyph the flat attack, and here we can just get some more survivability. On the banner as well, we can get more speed, more attack by glyphing it, and that would give us roughly over 20% more attack on the champion. So roughly we were gonna get we could get 270 more attack. I can't speak anymore, and that would take us to like 6.5k attack. The crit damage is decent, but at some point you're gonna start to get diminishing returns from having a very high attack and low crit damage. So you're gonna have to consider in swapping some of the attack and increasing the crit damage, you know. So you might have to look at different substats on your gear. In terms of masteries, I have very typical masteries for a DPS champion. And yes, if you have a full crit rate, you're gonna stick with deadly precision. If you have an overflow of crit rate of 5% or higher, I would strongly suggest you to get Blade Disciple. I'm personally always getting the masteries done on the champion first, you know. And in some cases can be a mistake if you manage to get a nice build without with having some extra crit rate, you know, because then you're gonna have to change them to get the attack. But you do have the free reset, so it's not an issue. This is kind of like up to you guys, however you wanna do your champion. And there we go. We got our Alika, pretty good masteries, Helm Smasher S tier 6. We ignore some defense from her skill on one of them. Then we have the set, which will give us some extra damage. Let me just throw a glyph on here just because this piece actually looks nice. You know what? We're gonna roll another one. Okay, 3%, 5. Okay, no more. We're gonna give up and let's try to ascend it. I have 45, 48 small oils, 45 required. We got HP, so we're gonna have some survivability on the champion too. Now we've built our nuker. Let's see what sort of damage we're gonna get if we're gonna take her on stage 23. That's where we're testing our DPS champions, guys. I'm gonna bring her an increased attack, a defense down, and we're gonna see if she actually deals a lot of damage. I would expect her to do quite a bit of damage actually, so hopefully she's not going to disappoint. If you're building your Skull Crown, your Gembo, any attack nuker, it pretty much works in the same way. Now, if you are building a couple of champions that do work slightly different, you're not gonna need a Savage, and I'm gonna explain you that in just a second. So this skill attacks all enemies. Let's see the damage. You see, that's actually pretty good damage. An epic champion. The stats are not pushed over the roof with the best gear that I have available. Keep in mind, I have 5-star gloves, 5-star boots on the champion, but they have pretty good rolls, so we cannot complain about it. I wish that the Ascension on the gloves would have given me crit damage instead. That would have been almost like a 6-star pair of gloves, you know. And let's hit that Phoenix with this skill. Check this out. This skill hits so damn hard. Ignores 50% of the target's defense already. 267k hit, guys. So, mission accomplished. We have a strong DPS champion to do our job. I'm definitely going to use an Infection Wars. And you've seen, it's an epic nuker, right? I don't have a lot of options for blessings. So, either you get Crushing Rend, you're getting some extra attack. Either you can get Phantom Touch as well. So, you're kind of like in between of these two blessings if you are talking about epic nukers, you know. Honestly, Crushing Rend is gonna be the best, but it really starts becoming the best at a higher start. So if we're gonna have a quick look at an HP based nuker, you're gonna follow the exact same principles, but you wanna dodge the attack as much as possible. So this is on Savage and crit damage. If I'm bringing a Cruel set on Magnar, yes, it can help me to ignore more defense, but honestly, just gaining the extra attack from it is not really gonna be beneficial for my Magnar, you know, so I don't want to do that. This is the weapon right here. Prioritize crit rate, HP, crit damage. The good part about the HP based nukers is that they can get HP on the weapon, on the shield. Defense cannot be on the weapon, attack cannot be on the shield, so they have a bit of a benefit, but of course they don't have increased HP to deal more damage like increased defense or increased attack. This is the shield. They are not the perfect pieces because, again, I'm not using him in arena, but I try to kind of like get some decent stats on the champion. HP chest piece, HP boots. Of course, on the ring, you're gonna have to look for a lot of HP. On the amulet, you see we have crit damage, double HP roll. That's a thing to keep in mind too. Instead of going for attack, you're gonna go for that. And of course, we have a HP banner. Total stats on my Magnar, 85k HP. I would like it to be up to, I don't know, 90k, 95k. That would be nice. 179 speed. I have full crit rate, 253 crit damage. In this case, is honestly not worth it for you to go on Blade Disciple. You want to avoid doing that anyway because it's not going to benefit the champion. So if you have an overkill on crit rate, I would strongly suggest you to look around for a different piece and try to drop the crit rate like that, you know. Helm Smasher as tier 6 on the champion, of course. And when you're talking about defense-based nukers, for example, it's going to be the exact same situation, but instead of that, you're going to want to have a defense, right? So if we're gonna quickly look for a defense-based nuker that I have on at the moment, let's just see. Ignatius, yeah, he's built for the spider, honestly. He's not built on proper savage gear, but soulless. So he's on savage and crit damage. And again, on the weapon, I cannot have a defense. So if I have some HP or accuracy as the 4th substat is fine. On the helmet, defense, crit rate, crit damage should be the main priority. On the shield, crit rate, crit damage, defense. On the gloves, you want to have defense percentage next to the crit damage. Unfortunately, this rolled me attack on the Ascension, but I can't do much about it. Defense, chest plate. Of course, the Ascension ruined this as well with flat attack. And we have the boots, defense boots. You want to prioritize crit rate, crit damage, speed. It really depends what sort of speeds you're trying to achieve with your champion. And if we're talking about the ring, as much defense percentage as possible. On the amulet, you want to have as much defense as possible. And if you can squeeze in a bit of accuracy would be great. And of course, on the banner would be pretty much the same sort of situation. I do have a lot of speed on this banner instead of having a lot of defense percentage. And I think it's mainly because I don't have very good defense banners for this faction. Considering that I farmed like 90k runs in the spider and I still didn't got it, is actually pretty crazy. In terms of masteries, again, very similar. Like when you're talking about nuker mastery, it's not much that you can really change about it, you know. As tier 6, we have a Helm Smasher. pretty much the same sort of masteries all the way down. Now, I used to run soulless with a Madame series or a Kaimar. I always used to strip the buffs, so I never really had to worry about the shield breaker. Since the meta changed so much in the last 4 to 6 months, I gotta say I'm using soulless every now and then in a 3v3 arena, but that's about it. Not really using him at all in Platinum Arena, you know, so I haven't bothered to change the masteries to shield breaker instead. But Helm Smasher is the way to go. Flawless Execution won't really give you a lot of value, and I can't really suggest you to go for that mastery only if you have under 200 crit damage, you know. That's when you're gonna get a lot of value out of Flawless Execution. If we're talking about different champions, so bomb champions. Now, they do damage based on attack as well, but it doesn't mean that you want to build them in the exact same way how you're building the other champions. They might need crit rate, they might not need crit rate, but bombs don't get affected by their crit damage. So the main thing that you want to prioritize on bomb champions is having as much attack as possible, and if they need accuracy, that's great, you know, like I have my Gaius right here, total stats, almost 7k attack, 205 speed, 52 crit rate, 118 crit damage, 658 accuracy. I actually have an accuracy chest piece on him, and I'm gonna show you in just a second. This is the weapon right here, speed, attack, accuracy. I had better stats on him, but again, I'm not using him for a very long time, so I actually changed some pieces of gear. Speed, attack, accuracy, crit rate. You wanna get all these stats on him. On the shield, you cannot get attack. So here, I would prioritize as much accuracy as possible, and the rest, crit rate, speed, crit damage, kind of like in this order. Attack gloves, you don't care about crit rate gloves, you don't care about crit damage gloves on him. You want to have as much attack as possible, as much accuracy as possible, and some speed as well to ensure that he's taking his turn. And I have an accuracy chest plate. You see, I have double roll on attack, I have crit rate, I have crit damage. This is the perfect chest plate for a bomb champion. I wish more rolls would have went on attack percentage. That would have made it even better. The Ascension could have been attack percentage. It would have been great. But you know what? I'm not complaining about that accuracy either. And of course, I have attack boots. As much accuracy and as much speed as possible. Attack ring. So as much attack as possible. On the amulet, I'm gonna have attack as main, not crit damage. And the main thing that you wanna prioritize as a substat on this is going to be accuracy. As much accuracy as possible. And I have an accuracy banner instead of attack banner because I wanna have high accuracy to land the bombs, and it's pretty hard to build champions like this to manage to cover both of the stats actually. So let me just quickly move a bit my head just because it seems like you can't really see the stats properly behind me, but here I could glyph a bit the attack, I could get more speed, or I could look for a better banner that doesn't have one roll on each and I have double roll on attack, one on speed, triple roll on attack, and stuff like that. That would benefit the champion more. And in terms of masteries, the masteries again are completely different. Now all these things in here like Ruthless Ambush, getting a single out, getting methodical, these things are not increasing the damage done by bombs, you know. And it will increase the damage done by skill as raw damage, but it won't increase the bombs. So as tier 6, I'm going for an Eagle Eye. I want to get as much accuracy as possible here too. And the rest, yeah, I'm not complaining if I get to deal a bit of raw damage, considering that I don't have full crit rate. I would still prefer to go with the offense because every now and then you're gonna crit, you know, and just dealing a bit of extra damage can be very helpful in some situations. And there's one more group of champions that I want to cover, and those are champions that fully ignore the defense with a skill. For example, Inquisitor Shamael. So if we're gonna have a quick look at the A2, attacks one enemy 3 times, will ignore 25% of the target's defense. That's how it starts. If he has 3 buffs on, he's gonna get to ignore 100% of the target's defense, which means, good news, we don't need Savage here. We can build the champion with whatever sets we want. Broken sets, crit damage sets, attack sets, whatever you guys want, as long as you manage to get a decent amount of attack, a decent amount of crit damage. The set itself doesn't really matter. Now, depending on what other champions you're using with him, if you want to ensure that you have the buffs on, it's not bad to either have an immunity, an untouchable, have a stone skin, or something that already comes with a buff on, or have one of the divine sets, a divine crit rate, a divine attack, if you manage to get any of those pieces to be decent. I literally have 0. In terms of blessings, again, you're gonna prioritize like Phantom Touch or Crushing Rand. Crushing Rand on Inquisitor Shamael won't help him that much with the A2, only with the A1, since the main source of damage comes from the A2 and I want to make that as powerful as possible. I'm gonna take everything that benefits that particular skill, and that is Phantom Touch. Now in terms of gear, you see I have a broken set and I have a stone skin. Crit rate, crit damage, attack as much as possible. Because I am using him in high-end Platinum Arena, the speed is not too high, it's not too low, it's just exactly what I need him to be for the particular teams that I'm attacking with him. The helmet, crit rate, attack, crit damage, speed. The main 3 things that I'm prioritizing on high-end arena champions: crit rate, attack, crit damage. And of course, how I mentioned, you don't need to build this on Savage, but you still want to prioritize the same sort of stats, you know, very important. The gloves, crit damage gloves, you want to have attack, you want to have crit rate. This is actually the perfect glove. We have attack percentage, crit damage as Ascension, flat attack on it is much better than having HP or defense or accuracy or resistance or God knows what. You want to prioritize as much damage as possible, and that 29 and the 34 from the glyph actually helps the champion to deal more damage, so that's what we want to get on it. Then we have the chest piece, attack chest piece, crit rate, crit damage, attack on the Ascension, again, a godly chest piece. I just wish I would get some of this from Cruel or from Savage or from Lethal. I'm pretty sure that most of you guys wish to get the same. And I have attack boots again. Everything when prioritized on crit rate, crit damage, flat attack here as well, which is helpful. Attack ring, of course. Crit damage amulet with a lot of attack, as much attack as possible. And of course, we have an attack banner on the champion. Masteries. Here we don't need to have a Helm Smasher. Helm Smasher only really helps this champion for the A1. So what I'm going to do here, we're quickly going to check again if we have enough crit rate on him. We are lacking some crit rate. So we're going to go and get the Masteries. We're going to get Deadly Precision. We're going to get Keen Strike. Because we're using him in high-end Platinum, we want to get Shield Breaker to make sure we are dealing more damage against shielded targets. And that's going to be pretty much every single enemy you're finding in Arena. Ruthless Ambush, the first hit is going to deal more damage. Single Out, we're going to get more damage. Cycle of Violence is going to help us to reset the skill a bit faster. We definitely want to get that. Bring It Down is going to help us quite a bit. And here, you're kind of like in a bit of a pickle, right? Like, what mastery should I get? Helm Smasher will only benefit the A1. Is that enough for me? Or I want to empower the A2 more because that's the main source of damage. So that's when you come in play and you're going to go in and get Flawless Execution. And this is for pretty much most of the champions. Like if you're thinking about Bloodgorged, he does have 3 skills. So you might want to prioritize Helm Smasher on him as well, or Royal Huntsman. But on champions like Inquisitor, Shamael, Faceless, I would strongly suggest you to just go in and get Flawless Execution. Unfortunately, you have to go at Blood Shield, and you're gonna have to dodge one or the other, either Kill Streak, either Methodical. And considering that we want to deal more damage just generally, I feel like Kill Streak is gonna be the best thing to get. Increases damage inflicted by 6% in the arena if we kill an enemy. Now, if we go to Methodical, we're only getting 2% damage extra each time we use the A1, you know? And we're gonna open with the A3, then we're gonna use the A2. So the main thing that is gonna benefit us more to deal more damage is gonna be Kill Streak. And then, of course, either you want support, either you want defense masteries and kind of like get whatever you guys want. But I'm usually trying to get a cheeky counter attack in here. It might help me every now and then. And bang, I've got the masteries for a champion that ignores pretty much 100% of the target's defense. Guys, that was all for this video. I do hope that you learned something new. Hope that the video was helpful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you do anything else different in the process of building your champions, or you're pretty much kind of like doing a very similar thing? That was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.